So thank you, Paul. Really enjoyed listening to the videos and hearing about, well, obviously reaffirming the journey with NLP, motivational maps, and personal development. And talking of personal development, I also know as a friend, it's been in some ways a challenging, but also stretching and rewarding 3 years in lots of different ways. Obviously, I know you've had a little bit of a health scare over the last 3 years. I know that there's been a relationship breakdown. Obviously, there's lockdown that happened in March, and I know there was some financial wobbles at the early stages of the business and also around lockdown. So, how on earth have you managed to navigate your way through all of that and find yourself sat here in a much, much, much better position? Because I'm sure many, many people would have bailed at any one of those hurdles. So, just talk me through that.
Look, I'm still smiling. It still comes out the other end, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, that in the previous videos we were talking about that transition in career terms and making your own decisions. And of course, what we know about life is that there are decisions you make, and there's decisions that are thrust upon you, or circumstances that kind of push you in different directions. And yeah, that certainly happened over the last 2 or 3 years with me. But when I look back and think my NLP journey started some 8-9 years ago, prior to anything else that's happened more recently, that do I consciously sit there and think to myself, it's time to apply an NLP technique? Of course I don't. Do I sit there and think there's a different way of thinking about this? Yes, I do. And in the deepest, darkest moments that any of us have as human beings, there are times where actually that's difficult. But weirdly, in hindsight, when I look back now on some of those things, with the health scare, which thankfully is passed, with relationship breakdown, all the stuff that comes with it, that actually I put myself in a position of thinking, if I was coaching somebody here, if I was speaking to that individual, knowing what I know about NLP and personal development, and listening to other people in their challenges, I know that very often people get so stuck in their challenges they're unable to see what's right in front of them. So I kept that in my mind all the time, that any time I was facing a struggle, that actually there is something else. There is something else going on here that I can learn from that will help me grow and develop and become stronger. Now, in terms of relationship, of course, what that means is that I've actually developed a really wonderful relationship with the children. I don't see them as often, but actually when I do, it has a different feeling about it altogether. So I really connect with that. And as regards to my work, my business, well, actually it's given me some freedom to be able to do that. And actually then use whatever I've been through, as we all should be doing through life, of using that as a teaching, a learning, to be able to then give somebody else an opportunity, a reframe, to be able to work on it. And then as we go into, there's been times where financially, 2-3 years into a business, it's the early days, and it's can be a challenge, but it's almost a blind hope, or whatever you want to call it, that actually something will turn up. But the reality is, I know that everybody is at some stage going to need or want help, so I always have faith that opportunity will arise. Which then leads into lockdown, and I think with lockdown for me and the whole situation, on a personal level, totally fine with it, because used to living on my own, don't get out that much, so that side of it wasn't too much of a concern. But I, like many people, panicked a little bit at the beginning in regards to business, because I felt that actually by putting myself out there at networking, talking at presentations, all that stuff, I can't do that. And of course we hadn't been using the virtual opportunity, and by doing that, actually I've come out of what we now term as the full lockdown period, much stronger as a business than when I went into it. Because of, like the personal situations and the health situations, when faced with a challenge now, I look to it and think to myself, right, what am I going to learn about this challenge that will help me get stronger and develop and see new ways of doing things? And I, like many people, have just simply changed the way in which I do things. And instead of now looking at actually, okay, how can I leave that and go back to what I did before, then it's an absolute no, that's just part of what I do now. That's part of what I do, and I'm going to be doing the other stuff we're now going to be able to do in the future, which just means that both myself, you and I, and the people we work with, we're just going to have much more scope of experience to then share with people, which I'm not going to say I will hope will help them take them somewhere, because I know it will take them somewhere special. So it's the short answer. I could have answered it in about 3 words really, which is I've learned so much from the difficulties that I've faced that is actually, to coin I think it's Kanye West who said it, isn't it? Yeah, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
If it's not Kanye, I'm sure you'll correct me after the call. So. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and I think that'll be incredibly inspiring. Many opportunities to hit the self-sabotage button along the way, and by you seeing it as a learning opportunity, wow, look at what's happened. And there's lots of trust and faith that goes in that, and I appreciate that. Remember, sure, anybody who set their own business up remembers all those moments. So really inspiring story, especially with so many coaches and consultants struggling, to listen to that, and to provide that hope and that inspiration for what the next right step may be. So well done, buddy. I really enjoy working with you.
And one last thing on that, just to make sure that you have fun when you're doing it. Because let's face it, we've had some fun times with the training we've been on, so it's making sure that each scenario becomes more fun than the last. It just makes it more enjoyable.
Yeah, and keeps it light-hearted, doesn't it? Which is key. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. And again, I think lots of people it will resonate with a lot of people.